This is the Excellent Sports Adventure.
Well, the Blue Jays used to pretty much own the Mariners, but the last couple of years have been a completely different story. There was that wild card meltdown last October. This past weekend, they were trying to avoid being swept. This helps Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's been heating up an opposite field. Bell has just enough as he skips around the bases. It's a two-run poke. Santiago Espinal drove in the winning run. A roller just gets through the left side. Whit Merrifield rounds third. He'll score. Jays were able to hold the lead this time. It's a 4-3 victory. On to LA, where Dalton Varsho comes through with a big hit in the top of the 11th. A shot that skips away from the outfielder. Two-run score as the Jays drop the Dodgers 6-3. Ex-Blue Jay Fred McGriff was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown this past weekend. The big slugger known as Crime Dog had some of his best years in Toronto Blue.
Jays general manager, Pat Gillett, who's sitting up here, he saw the potential. And 4 years later, after riding those buses through the Carolinas and Smoky Mountains, and then playing up here in Syracuse, my AAA manager, Doug Ott, gave me the news: you're going to the big leagues. I had my first at-bat against Don Schultz. I singled up the middle, and that was the moment I started living my dream. And yes, I still have the ball.
I suppose you would want to keep that ball indeed. You know, it's one of the longest running and best rivalries in pro football. The Argos in the hammer to bang helmets with the rival Ticats. The second of four meetings between these two clubs. Second quarter, Argos up by 7 on the move. Chad Kelly fires a dart over the middle for Curly Gittens Jr. Touchdown, Toronto. And they keep it coming. Kelly from the pocket hits DeVeris Daniels, who bounces off a tackle. He's got a 32-yard score. Kelly was 20 of 27 for 306 yards and a pair of touchdowns. The Boatmen bounce the Cats 31-15. They're 5-0 for the first time since 1960. Rough Riders and Lions, Vernon Adams Jr. under pressure gets roughed up early and often. He left the game with an injury. Yeah, Dane Evans comes in to take his place. Evans with a nice ball for Alex Hollins. Hollins hauls it in for 6. Lions rough up the Riders. 19-9, they improve to 5-1. Adams is said to be okay. Saskatchewan drops to 3-3. Red Blacks and Stampeders both coming off thrilling wins. And here's another. Jake Meyer, good protection, spots Mark and Michelle on the fly. This guy can fly. He's going to take it 92 yards for 6. Look at him go. Michelle had 2 TD catches on the day. They needed overtime. Driving, Dustin Crum gives to Ante Milanovic Litre. Litre heads outside, got a pair of touchdowns. They went for 2. They get it. Crum hits Nate Bahar. Red Blacks rack up their second straight overtime win, 43-41. Love this game. Blue Bombers home to that awful Elk side. Third quarter of a close game. Zach Collaros with terrific protection. He's got Nick Dembski ridiculously wide open. Dembski hauls this in, 70-yard touchdown. Collaros was 20 of 24 for 308 yards, couple TDs. Bombers roll 28-14. They're 5-2. Edmonton falls to 0-7. Well, the Maple Leafs got some off-season business sorted out. An arbitrator awarded goaltender Ilya Samsonov a 1-year contract worth $3.55 million. That's 1.35 less than he was asking for and 1.15 more than the Leafs had offered. The 26-year-old signed a 1-year deal last summer worth $1.8 million, and he responded with the best season of his career. Samsonov had a 27-10-5 record with a .919 save percentage, and the Leafs reached the second round for the first time in 19 years. A disappointing result for Canada in the opener of the Women's World Cup, a scoreless draw against Nigeria. Can't believe Christine Sinclair was stopped on the penalties. Next up, Ireland. A win isn't necessarily crucial, but it would go a long way to securing a spot in round 2. Here's coach Bev Priestman.
But I think some positives from the performance. I think the impact from the bench was critical. And I think to keep a clean sheet, you know, when you're pushing for that goal, we know they're world-class going the other way. And credit to the team, they kept the transition locked off and pushed. You know, we had lots and lots of chances. We've now just got to find the back of the net. But tournament football, we opened the Olympic Games with a draw. You know, we're not getting too hung up on that. We very quickly move on to game 2.
Yeah, good point. That worked out well. Canada's Maggie McNeil made the podium at the World Aquatic Championships in Japan. The 23-year-old from London, Ontario, claimed silver in the women's 100-meter butterfly. She won gold in this event, the last Olympics. She is a mental health hero. The top 3-year-old fillies in the country were at the post Sunday in the $500,000 Woodbine Oaks first jewel in the Canadian Triple Tiara, and some Kings Plate hopefuls, a solid 14-horse field. The 2-1 favorite, Ticker Tape Home, had grabbed the lead early as they made the turn for the home, still in front. But a couple of determined fillies were in hot pursuit, Elysian Field and Wickenheiser. Let's get the call of the finish from Robert Geller.
Home raced out too, but Elysian Field is coming. Elysian Field on the outside, the stablemate, and has run to the front. Wickenheiser down the outside in Big Brass Bed. Elysian Field in front. Out wider, Wickenheiser. Elysian Field clear. Wickenheiser now the centre. Drifting, but Elysian Field. Sahin Savachi wins the Woodbine Oaks, 2.5 lengths. Wickenheiser second. 45.70 third. Me and My Shadow fourth. Then Ticker Tape Home, Big Brass Bed, Fly So Free, Ashley B, Courtly Rowe. And behind them, Fashionably Fab Collect.
Sahin Savachi rode Elysian Field, yes, for trainer Mark Cassidy, owned by Team Valor Invitational and Gary Barber. For Savachi, his first ever Oak start was a win. Here's Elisa Blow with the winning jockey and trainer.
Honestly, the horse was great and just had a good trip overall, and she came running.
One thing I've noticed about you is that you give these horses amazing trips and you find no traffic out on the outside of the racetrack. It just looked like you were, home and sailing.
Yeah, I saw a gap there and I tried to take it, but then it closed in and I had to check a little bit, and then I swerved out, and she got a clear run.
I know it's a little soon. We haven't got the horse back to the barn to check, but just considering what we just saw in the plate trial, would you think that horse is a possibility for this year's plate?
I would think so. Her time is, I think she maybe even ran a fifth of a second faster than the Colts. Our Colt ran really well. But yeah, this is what it's all about, the Queen's Plate. And so I like now, over the last 4 or 5 years, things changed. We used to have to run them back in 3 weeks off the Oaks. Now we get a month, and it's a big difference. And we both know fillies, we've won the Queen's Plate twice with Wonder Godot, and then we won it with Lexi Lou. Yeah. So fillies can do it.
They sure can. And
yes, I love Elysian Field. And also on Sunday's card, the Plate Trial Stakes, some more 3-year-old plate contenders, a mile and an eighth on the Woodbine Topeta track. Paramount Prince with Patrick Husbands in the saddle took control early and never looked back. Once again, here's Robert Geller with the call.
Well, is Cool Kiss around the outside of Grand Spirit of Velocitor still there. Stanley House made a run, has dropped behind again, and Forest Buzz joining Paramount Prince, and then Simcoe, Velocitor, Cool Kiss, and Philip My Dear starting to run on. Paramount Prince dashed right away, and it is Patrick Husbands, and Paramount Prince has absolutely blitzed them. Paramount Prince, head on the chest, has absolutely canted in to win the plate trial by 4.5 lengths to Cool Kiss, and Twin City got third. Then Velocitor, Philip My Dear, and Stanley House. Behind them,
Tiburon. 149.99 the time, a shade slower than the Oaks. Mark Cassidy, the trainer, Michael Langlois, and Gary Barber, the owners. What a day for Cassie and Barber. The 3-11-6 trajectory returned $3,928.80. Nice win for Patrick Husbands. CF Montreal opened their League Cup journey in impressive fashion. They knocked off Pumas in Mexico 4-2 in penalties after a 2-2 draw through regulation. The Whitecaps lost in penalties to Club Leon. Now, our shot of the week, Jamie's approach from the rough on Lucky 13, a par saver.
God damn it.
4!
Look at that. He rolls it on the green. And he'll love that for par.
Beyond crap.
God damn it.
4!
The shot of the week is brought to you by Sleepy Hollow Country Club. 60 years of tradition, providing a challenging and enjoyable golf experience just minutes from Toronto.